everyone. Let's get all platforms going. Let's wait for it. Ooh. It's very rare that Facebook is the first one working. This is me faffing around with Instagram. I do apologise, lovelies. I'll be with you in just a second. In but a moment. Title, oh, I don't know. This is like when you think you've got everything under control. Ooh. There we are. Nearly. Yes, hello. There we are, Instagram. Apologies, I'm a few minutes late with you guys. Facebook was up and running before you guys today. So, hello, everyone. Welcome to, I think, the last Temple Talk for February 2023. So, for those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Rebecca Burgess, and I'm the founder and mother priestess of the Temple of Cornwall. And the Temple of Cornwall has been around for about nearly 3 years now. And these temple talks are a way for me and you just to kind of have a little bit of a conversation about anything spiritual that we want to talk about. These temple talks started in, I think the very first lockdown back in 2020. And they've just flourished and kept going on and off. So here we are. So this week you all voted between two options of, what were they? The importance of spiritual community versus the how I celebrate the new moon. And unanimously, you all chose the new moon. So here we are, the day. I think I'm going to get away with celebrating the new moon tonight. I think you all can too. So yeah, the last day of the new moon in February, I think with Pisces. I'm no astrologer. I hire people to do that for me because it's not one of my strong suits. But yes, here we are. So, apologies, I have this lingering cough. I have a big glass of water should I need to chug it at any point, but I will perhaps need to delicately cough into a handkerchief or something throughout, so do bear with me for that. So, the new moon in Pisces, yes, if you want to know about all the like astrological awesome stuff that's going on with this new moon, I am not your girl for that, I'm afraid. I can send you in the right direction of so many wonderful astrologers on Instagram or Facebook and the wider world. If you want some of that, just let me know. Just give this a like if you're live or comment below. But there's what I know the new moons to be for me, is that they are a time of it's nothing. It's the void. It's the great cosmic womb of where we all began and where we all return to at some point or another throughout our many lifetimes, reincarnating. And so for me, when we think of the cosmic womb, when we think of the void, we think of the potential, what the potential and the shedding, which are the two big things that always come for me at this time of the month. What are we shedding? For those of you, for the women amongst us who still have your moon cycles, you may literally be shedding parts of yourself if you bleed with the new moon. You may be shedding people, situations, emotions, limiting beliefs. You could be shedding anything and everything. And then when it comes to the potentiality, for me, there's always this kind of betwixtness, if you like, between what am I shedding and what am I, what's the potential within it. There's always the potential related to what you're shedding. So for me, this month I am shedding, I've not thought about it yet. Let me try and think what I'm shedding. I'll tell you at the end. I'm going to think about it while I talk to you all, and then I'll share it at the end. But let me know what you're shedding in the comments below if you've got any clue more than me what you're shedding. Then let me know. But yeah, the shedding will always have that seed of potentiality within its very core. So it's always interesting to see the relation between those two. So to celebrate the new moon, for me, it has to be cozy. If I'm not feeling it comfy cozy, then I'm not celebrating the new moon. Your like sheer exuberance, nakedness, rawness, for me, that kind of celebration is very full moon. For me, the new moon's got to be like, ooh, all like snuggled up and cozy. So I always like to honor that sense of nurturing, that sense of I call it luxurious comfort, and I don't mean luxurious comfort as in like you've got a Louis Vuitton blanket or whatever it may be. I mean that sense of comfort that comes from feeling really safe, really secure. And for me, I like to honor that part of the new moon with a lovely mug of cacao. Now I use, what's her Instagram handle? Wild Soul Cacao on Instagram, as she's phenomenal. She's amazing. She has her Ecuadorian blend is my favorite. It's like handpicked by shamans in Ecuador. It's fantastic. That's very like cosmological of the stars, but her current, or the one that I currently have from her, I can't remember which mix this is, but it's very earthy, it's very bodily, it's just lovely. So it's the perfect cacao mix for me to celebrate the new moon. And I like to mix this with a little bit of honey just to sweeten it, because I'm not a dark chocolate girl at all. Milk chocolate all the way for me. So anything slightly bitter, it has to be sweetened. And to celebrate the moon, I like to add in some perhaps ashwagandha for me. That's a herb that I use. I like to also use my dog. I thought my dog was coughing. Yes, some ashwagandha, some some medicinal mushroom powder. I'm not that kind of mushroom. I can't do any of that stuff to save my life. So just like good old traditional mushrooms. Um, yeah, just to bring in that real nurturing of body and of mind, which is what the ashwagandha and the mushrooms both do for me personally. Now, while I'm creating this, I like to speak my intentions into the cacao, into the milk that I'm using as well. And like I said, those intentions could be I intend to shed a toxic workplace environment, and I intend to receive the potentiality of a new workplace, of a new job. That could be a good example for you. And while you're doing this, you keep singing or chanting or just thinking of what you're shedding and what you're welcoming in as well. So then I've got my nice big steaming cup of cacao. And then I like to go on with the rest of my rituals whilst I simultaneously sip through the cacao. So I really like to, I've usually, so I'm still, my body's still healing after just coming off the pill after being on it for 14 years. Oh, horrible. So I will either have just started to bleed on the new moon or I'm in full ovulatory fabulousness. But usually I'm either PMSing or have just started. So I'm quite in tune with my emotions, shall we say. They're very like, there's no bubbling under the surface. They are coming out in full force at the new moon for me. And I like to spend some time really honouring them, whether they be the, you know, tearful, the tearful mess that I think we can, all women can easily be during PMS, or whether it's something much more fun or grand or amazing. I really like to sit down and honour those emotions, just to give myself and my emotions the space to be seen and to be witnessed. And that saves me so much aggro throughout the coming month as well. It saves me having to kind of second guess myself half the time. It just saves me so much emotional aggro, is the best way of describing it, really. Because when we honour our emotions, when we give ourselves that space to just to feel them and just to let them be expressed and be seen, then that moment of emotionalness is healed. It's gone, it's been witnessed, it's been seen, it's been embraced, it feels safe again, it feels good to be a part of you again. And when we start to give ourselves space to not tune into our emotions, but let them be expressed in whatever way they need to be expressed. Sometimes the expression of the emotion will make complete sense to you. Sometimes it will not. You just have to kind of go with the flow with emotions, as we always have to. But when we honour our emotions, we also honour our truth, which throughout the rest of the month will bring us barrels and barrels of even more self-love and self-trust. Self belief as well. Again, it saves you all that emotional aggro of second guessing yourself, your offerings, your worth, anything like that. Now, this is when I say I kind of let my emotion honor my emotions. I don't necessarily mean that I'm sat there doing really intense, deep, dark shadow work. For me, I don't need to go that deep at the new moon because I'm already like halfway there. I'm already quite in my shadow, in my kind of witch's lair, witch's cave there. So there's very little work that needs to be done to find it. I can just embrace it, and take it for what it is in that moment. Now, just a little disclaimer when I speak of honouring your emotions by allowing them to be fully felt and fully expressed. If you're somebody who's going through a really bad time with your mental health, do that as best as your care providers think is best for you. So if your therapist says, yeah, crack on, love, that's fantastic, crack on. If your doctor says, perhaps not, then perhaps not. So just take it as what's best for you from your medical care professionals as well. So you've got your cacao, you've honoured your emotions, you've honoured your truth, you're feeling a little bit bold, you're feeling perhaps a little bit more empowered, even if you've been lying on the floor in the fetal position crying about how daddy didn't love you. A little insight into into my new moon ceremonies there. So even when you're in those moments of great release, you can still feel that empowerment because you've created the space. Nobody else held the space for you. You did that. You expressed those emotions, you felt them, you allowed them to be felt, you witnessed them, you expressed them. Chef's kiss. That's perfect. So then, whether I'm feeling bold and brave and empowered, or whether I'm still kind of lying on the floor having daddy issues, or whatever your equivalent of daddy issues may be, I like to then go into body work. Now, for me, this looks like it's either, depending on my kind of cyclical flow where I am in my cycle at the time, it's either really long, sensuous yoga stretches, or it's full on dancing. Sometimes it can be ecstatic dancing, like spiritual dancing. Sometimes it's just me dancing to like Led Zeppelin or Def Leppard. It can be, it can take any shape it needs. Whatever you've, and when I speak of body work, I mean whatever it is that makes you feel like you've fully got those emotions out of your system, out of your field, if you've like, you fully not only expressed the emotion as it wanted to be expressed, but you've then released it through the body in some way as well. Oh, bless you. Sorry if you heard my dog sneezing. I know they're fighting. Hopefully you can't hear them. No, they're being quite quiet. Yeah, so body work, it could even be, if you have a partner who lives with you or who's staying with you on the new moon, you could maybe do like sensuous massages on each other. You could, or if you've got like a flatmate who's a Reiki master, perhaps they can do like energy body work on you, whatever it may be. You could even be treating yourself to a lovely little massage as well. That's always a lovely thing to do at the new moon. It takes care of that nurturing aspect as well that I spoke of before with the cacao and the mushrooms in there as well. So you've got your cacao, you've honoured your emotions, you've honoured your truth, you've done your body work. Even just shaking can be a really good way to express or release, sorry, the emotions that have built up over the past over the past month or so, between new moon and new moon. Just putting on any daft song, the dafter the better, to be honest. Facebook, what action is needed? Keyframe. You keep telling me this, and I don't know what it means, so I'm going to ignore it. Every now and then, Facebook will throw me really technical, like pieces of advice, and I'm like, I don't know. So anyway, that was that. Yeah. So sometimes if you're just beginning to try shaking as an energetic piece of body work, it's really good to make yourself feel even dafter than perhaps you already do. Really lean into the silliness and the daftness of how it is, and you'll soon move through it, and you'll soon get past that, and you'll feel much more. You'll feel the benefits of the shaking much more as well. So then, what I like to do, this is usually because I don't have a bath in my lovely little cottage, which breaks my heart every time I think, oh, I could just use a bath. Since I don't have a bath, I like to get out to, I'm not far, to be honest, from all the lakes on Bodmin Moor. So if I can, during the day of the new moon or the day either before or after, I like to get out to a lake or even the ocean. I'm like 5 minutes away from Charlestown where I am. So it's surrounded by water, really. It's hard not to be in Cornwall. So it's when you surround yourself with water on the new moon, it's bringing you closer into alignment with those kind of more hidden, those more repressed emotions that you might want then to go on to heal later on when you spend some time to honour your emotions. So when there's one lake here where I believe the ladies of the lake, the priestesses of our sacred waters, originated from here in Cornwall. Sorry, I've been chugging water all day, so I've got hiccups now. Yeah, the ladies of the lake, the priestesses of the sacred waters, originated from, and I like to visit there whenever I can and really tap into that the priestess void, that part of every, whether you call yourself witch, shaman, druid, priestess, something else, that part of you that has to empty, that has to become the void, that has to be the darkness in order to do the work that we do, whether it's for ourselves or for our chosen community or whoever. I like to go to these places and really honor that part of myself. So I will perhaps usually veil myself, if that's something that feels right. I don't tend to do that in public spaces where it's not a woo woo place, if you like. So I wouldn't do that on like Fistral Beach, for example. But yeah, if you feel safe enough to do that wherever, then amazing. You can veil yourself and go to that darkness, that darkness of the priestess within you there. But just even if you just want to go and have a paddle in the shoreline, doing so, if you set the intention, it will bring you into the awareness of what it is that you've been repressing or hiding from for the past month, for the past cycle. It will bring you into deeper alignment with your actual truth, not the truth that you think you ought to have, your real truth, the truth of your truth, if you like. So yeah, any kind of water work, whether it be a shower, a bath, ladies of the lake, the ocean, a pond, rain, try and really connect in with the waters around you at this time as well. And if you're somebody who still has a menstrual cycle, then I will just spend a little bit of time talking about how I honour that depending where I am on my cycle on the new moon. Because for those of you that have just recently joined, I did mention previously my body's nearly done healing, just coming off the contraceptive pill after being on it for 14 years. So my cycle is a little bit all over the place, but it just means I've got experience of ovulating on the new moon and bleeding on the new moon. So I've got an all-round experience. So yes, if you bleed with a new moon, that's quite common. I think that's the most common time to have your bleed is with the new moon. So it's quite a nice community experience that everybody is as PMSy or as as uncomfortable and as sacred as you are at the time. So if I find myself on my bleed at this time, I know I mentioned this before, but I get so super cozy. I've got the biggest socks, the ugliest, coziest jumper or onesie you have ever seen. My duvet follows me around all day. I have always got a hot chocolate or a cacao or a hot cup of tea at all times. Hot food only, everything's just super cozy. And this harks back to that nurturing of the cacao that I was speaking of before, when we use that in ritual and ceremony to connect with and honour the energies of the new moon. So yeah, if you're just started, you want to be super cozy. You might not want to do the body work that, that I spoke of before, that, dancing around to Def Leppard might not be your cup of tea when you're on, and that's completely fine. Your body work then could look like something a bit slower, a bit softer. It could just be lying there in the corpse position for 20 minutes and just surrendering the full weight of your body into whatever lies beneath you. But if you're my friend Trudy, I think she did I dream this? I think my friend Trudy at Wild Samsara posted a really I'm just checking. Posted a really interesting reel. So apparently I can't think, can do two things at the same time. You should go check out Wild Samsara on Instagram. She posted a really interesting reel yesterday about her experience of her cycle on the new moon. And it was because I've not bled on the new moon for a little while. So it's really interesting to see how she connects in with the void when she's full of life. But for me, harking back to when I used to have this experience, it was, I would celebrate the new moon in all gloriousness, I would have the energy to do perhaps cord cutting rituals, to release whatever you're shedding. I would have the energy to do anything of that sort of, not quite banishments, but something like that, kind of cutting ties or releasing, any releasing ritual. I've always got much more energy if I'm ovulating on the new moon to do those sorts of things. But it's apples and oranges. There's no, sorry, this is telling me that I have comments that I don't have now, which is really annoying. It used to do this on Facebook. It used to tell me that, oh, you've got so many comments, and then I can't see them. So I apologise if it looks like I'm ignoring you. I'm really not. I just can't see them. I'm sorry. Yes, so yes, if you ovulate on the new moon and you're full of your wild feminine glory and life, you will have that extra energy to do like the full-blown body work. You will have the energy to release and shed, and dramatically so, and it will be glorious each and every single time. But if you're on your bleed during the new moon, like I said, super cozy, super soft. You don't really have to do much shadow work because you're already deep in that PMS pit of shadowy stuff. So it's a much more easily accessible for you to do that. And I think that's everything in my notes. Cacao, honour emotions and truth, body work, water, and cycle. Lovely. And look at me with 5 minutes to spare. This is rare. I usually like to ramble on, but not today. Look at me being concise and full of clarity. That's amazing. So, my lovelies, when will you next see me? When am I next doing a thing for you all? Patreon people, you'll see me tomorrow with your channeled messages. Ooh, for those of you in Cornwall, either living here or visiting this weekend, I'm hosting a free beach gathering on Perranporth Beach. It will be from 2 to 6 p.m, if I remember right. Yeah, 2 to 6 p.m. I'll be there. There'll be homemade cookies. I'll have the Sacred Flame of Cornwall. You can't see it, Facebook. The Sacred Flame of Cornwall with me. There'll be lots of lovely people or spiritual folk gathering there, men and women, everyone. So yeah, just come along. But I checked the weather this morning. It's got to be a balmy 10 degrees. So not the warmest, but not bad for the UK. And sunny all day. So bring your swimming costumes. Maybe not. It might be a bit too cold for that. But yes, so I will see you, for those who can join me, on Saturday. If not, then I'll see you all again on a live stream on the first Monday of next month for our healing live stream. So my lovelies, it's been such an honour to talk to you today and teach you about some of my new moon rituals. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for joining me. Lots of love to you, Facebook and YouTube. See you again soon.